Our campaign is growing all the time because we are laser focused on solving the real problems that got Donald elected in the first place. I spent 7 years helping create thousands of jobs in Detroit, Baltimore, New Orleans, and other cities, serving under President Obama. And I saw firsthand what many of you already know.
This one up too.
Our country is falling apart. Our senior citizens are working until the day they die. Our kids are addicted to smartphones or drugs. We're seeing record high levels of depression, suicides, overdoses. Our companies are recording record profits while our people are literally dying younger. Our way is changing faster than ever, and the simple fact is this. Our politicians in DC succeed, whether we the people succeed or fail. Washington, D.C. today is the richest city in our country. What do they produce? Bad decisions?
Bad decisions?
We need to get the money out of D.C. and into your hands, the hands of the American people. Join us at yang2020.com and help us rewrite the rules of the 20th century economy to work for us.
Thank you, Senator.
We're listening to
Senator Klobuchar. We have had quite a debate tonight, but I want to debate Donald Trump. This primary comes down to some simple questions. The best experience, mostly will she do it? So, Donald Trump built his fortune on over time, over $413 million that he got from his dad. My grandpa,
want to vote
was an iron armor,
the Democratic candidate
underground, and he saved money in a coffee can in the basement to send my dad to a community college. That's
but all
my
these
family
people
trust.
are not
And I
fun.
think if you are given
Not like fun,
you
but
don't go into
you
the world
know,
with a sense of entitlement. You go into it
just,
with a sense of lift people up instead of hoarding what you have. Our politics right now, because of Donald Trump, are toxic. We need a leader who can bring people together and who can win that way. So if you are tired of the extremes in our politics and the noise and the nonsense, you have a home with me. If you want a bigger tent and a wider coalition and longer coattails, join me. We will win at amyklobuchar.com. Thank you. Mayor Buttigieg.
So the nominee is going to have to do two things. Defeat Donald Trump.
I hope the past ones are good now.
As president.
To be watched.
And in order to do it, we're going to need a nominee and a president who can respond
that's how they tend to do it now.
That is gripping our nation today.
They make it so hard to find these shits.
That is defined not by who we exclude, not by who we reject, but by how many people we can call to this side. I have seen so many people capable of forming that multiracial, multi-generational coalition. And I'm seeing more and people who maybe have not felt welcome in the Democratic Party before, but belong here now, because they're definitely not on board with what's going on in the Trump White House. I am asking you to join me, to vote for me, to caucus for me, and to help us build that future defined but by belonging.
Senator Warren. Did you call my name?
Oh my God.
This is a dark moment in America, and yet I come here tonight with a heart filled with hope. All three of my brothers served in the military. They're all retired. They're all back in Oklahoma. One is a Democrat, two are Republicans. But you know what unites my three brothers? Amazon. They are furious that Amazon reported $10 billion in profits and paid zero in taxes. My brothers are part of why America is ready to root out corruption and fight that. And that gives us a base to work from. America is a wealth tax supported by Republicans, Democrats, and independents. And it lets us invest in all of our children. America is ready to expand Social Security payments and disability payments by $200
now, see, that is one thing I was saying the other day.
And we can do it. You know, so it'll mean I can get a prescription filled and I can still buy toilet paper this year.
Disabled people and a lot of people in rural areas, they really need Amazon, but you know,
to build an America that won't just work for those at the top.
he's really taking advantage of tax laws. But the tax law shouldn't be set up so that rich people can take advantage of that shit.
45 years, Americans have been listening to great speeches.
Someone take some
And
dabs.
at the end of the day, the average American worker is not making a nickel more than he or she did in real wages over those 45 years. The truth is that real change always takes place. Real change always takes place from the bottom on up, never from the top on down. And that is why in this campaign, I am so proud that we have over 1 million volunteers. They are some of the strongest grassroots organizations, individual contributions than any candidate in American history. Please join the political revolution at BernieSanders.com. Let's defeat Trump. Let's transform this country. Thank you.
And finally, Vice President Biden.
I want to thank everyone for listening 7 days out Christmas. Thank you very much.
I should really be holding my arm still, but I'm tired. Okay, I'll do it.
Deliver on those plans. It seems to me we have to ask ourselves 3 questions straight up and honest. Who has the best chance, most likely chance of defeating Donald Trump? Who is the one most likely to do that? Number 2, who can help elect Democrats to the United States Senate in states like North Carolina, and Georgia, and Arizona, and other states? And thirdly, who can deliver legislation? It requires you to look at our records. I have a significant record of getting significant things done, from the Violence Against Women Act to the Chemical Weapons Treaty, in foreign and domestic policy alike. And so I think asking those questions, I believe, as you expect, that I'm the most qualified to answer those 3 questions. But most of all, you got to level with American people. Don't play games. Tell them the truth and be authentic. God bless you all, and may you all have a great holiday season. Thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And that.
I love how Joe Biden's just like, rationally, obviously, I'm the best suited for the job because who could do it better than me, son? Think about it. What? Me, right here. It's facts.
Thank you all for joining
Who?
us. Please stick around and watch PBS for some
Me.
analysis. Thank you.
That's who. This guy. Right here. Your son, Joe. I got the resume. Remember those 8 years when I was here? Serving you up. With
Welcome to the PBS NewsHour.
the Affordable Care Act and serving you up with
It is just after 7:30
other types of
Pacific time, 10:37
legal things you like.
Eastern time. Has just wrapped up with the candidates' closing statements.
Trying
Good
to fix this
evening.
camera,
I'm
it's
Stephanie
distracting.
Shive, the PBS NewsHour. Joining me to discuss
I hate
tonight's
taking it out of
debate
focus
is
because then I have to
distinguished
bring it back
panel
in
of my
focus,
colleagues
but
from
it's
Politico
necessary.
and PBS NewsHour. But first, I want to check in with our Lisa Desjardins, who is just across the way in another building in the so-called spin room. This is a lot of times where we see candidates and their representatives and staff. Well, Lisa, I imagine you're going to see some spin.
Right. Yeah, I think so. The spin room is a modern tradition, sometimes good, sometimes painful, but we're going to try and get some substantive answers while we're here. You see behind me the members of the press corps, my fellow ardent reporters, waiting for the candidates to come through what's called the chute and talk to them here. Some will have surrogates, some will have the candidates themselves. We will be waiting there to ask follow-up questions after the debate.
Thank you, Squishy Kobe.
All right, Lisa, so since I have you and you are a crack political reporter, give me the highlights that you perceived tonight.
You know, I think it was a substantive debate, but I think what we saw were understandable political tensions right now at this critical moment in the campaign. We saw 2 moderates, Pete Buttigieg, the former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and Amy Klobuchar, the senator from Minnesota, kind of really facing off none of our issues, but sort of over respect. And actually, it looks like we may start having candidates come to us soon. So let me send it back to you. And we will get set up. I think perhaps Senator Klobuchar will be here in just a few minutes, but let me send it back to you in the panel for just a moment.
All right, as soon as you get Senator Klobuchar, I will go back to you in the spin room. They will share Lisa Desjardins. Let me introduce
our panel, and you'll recognize a new face here, Daniel Bush, a senior political reporter at PBS NewsEra. Dan, welcome. Amy Walter of the Cook Political Report, Ryan Lizza, chief Washington correspondent for Politico, and Laura Barone Lopez, national political reporter at Politico. Okay, guys, I want to play sort of what I think one of the big moments of this night, and this was a clash between
Oh my God.
and former
I'm
Vice
so
President
sorry.
Joe Biden about the price of their health care plans.
Listen,
Let's
get
take a
me.
listen.
I appreciate the closed captions on this.
60% of the American public is on Medicare now, and everybody has a piece taken out of their paycheck now. Tell me, you're going to add 84% more, and there's not going to be higher taxes? At least before he was honest about it. It's going to increase personal taxes. They're going to be.
That's right. We are going to increase personal taxes. But we're eliminating premiums. We're eliminating co-payments. We're eliminating deductibles. We're eliminating all out-of-pocket expenses. And no family in America will spend more than $200 a year on prescription drugs.
Okay. Okay, by polling, these are the two front runners. These are the guys to beat right now, and this was a substantive debate. This was one of those moments that exemplified that. Did we see something new tonight? Do you think there was a game-changing moment? Not on this. This is a debate that the two of them have been having, and quite frankly, the two sides of the Democratic primary debate have been having for months now about whether to go all in for Medicare for all or whether to do something that is building on Obamacare like a public option. What I think is interesting, the one person, and Brian had brought this up earlier, Elizabeth Warren had trimmed her sails a little bit on this issue by saying, we're going to give an option to voters, a public option when I'm president, she says. You can buy into or you can be part of a public option if you'd like to, or you can keep your own private insurance. But by year 3 of my administration, everybody goes into Medicare for all. Basically saying, I understand that maybe Medicare for all and this issue of asking those people who have private insurance to no longer be able to keep that private insurance could be problematic politically in a campaign as a Democratic nominee. Bernie Sanders, he was given the opportunity by the moderator to say, is there anything that you would do? Anything you would do to just maybe scale this back a little bit so that it could pass Congress, or that you could get something done rather than going all in and getting
I get
nothing.
that, because as somebody who's lost their insurance and had to change insurance plans, it's really hard to change insurance. It's radically hard to have to shift insurance, and every American changing insurance at the same time would be mayhem.
And that's the big difference. Really,
it would be mayhem.
And
it would be mayhem on the medical system.
Vision and version.
It would be mayhem on patients. People would die.
But also how to win this Democratic primary. I mean, Ryan, there were direct questions for Elizabeth Warren as well as regards to costs, and a lot of this does come down to taxes and the tax question, which I think a lot of Americans hear that word and they associate it perhaps with the Democratic Party, and that is where I think when I was speaking to voters earlier this week, I heard them listening to these details.
Absolutely, and look, I think Amy makes this terrific point here about what Sanders represents. It really is almost always the maximalist position, because the question, as Amy pointed out, was, would you take half a loaf or even a slice of bread?
And he did not.
He didn't quite answer, but he basically said, no, because we're in a crisis, and I'm going to start a political revolution, and we're going to get it all. Similarly, on the trade deal, Sanders, interestingly, came out. He's against this trade deal before Congress, where we have the head of the AFL-CIO, important union member saying we'll take this trade deal. A lot of Democrats saying Sanders, he's sticking to just the maximalist position on almost every issue. To your question about Warren, Warren has shown in the last few weeks a willingness to adjust her position on Medicare for all. There's no doubt about it. And I think a lot of her campaign going forward will rest on how voters process that. Do they see that as, okay, good, I like this because this was getting unpopular and I just want to beat Trump, so I'm glad that Elizabeth Warren has taken this sort of mid-campaign correction and moved a little closer to just where, where the center of gravity is out there? Or do they say, oh, she's flip-flopped, she's changed her mind on this position? And I think that's a great question for the Warren campaign going forward. She's got enough time. She's got a great infrastructure and a lot of money. She's certainly primed and poised for a potential comeback. But it's on that question and whether she's finally got it right that I think her fate depends.
All right, I want to play another highlight from this debate. This was another picture that I think represents a debate we saw about money and politics and the power of wealthy donors. And this was an exchange between Senator Warren and the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, Pete Buttigieg.
The mayor just recently had a fundraiser that was held in a wine cave full of crystals and served $900 a bottle wine.
Wow.
Think about who
Douchey move, dude.
Fundraiser he would do would be open door, but this one was closed door. We made the decision many years ago that rich people in smoke-filled rooms would not pick the next president of the United States.
This is the problem with issuing purity tests you cannot yourself pass. If I pledge never to be in the company of a progressive Democratic donor, I couldn't be up here. Senator, your net worth is 100 times mine.
Okay, I want to go back to speaking to our panel about that.
He was like,
But first,
yikes.
I want to
And
go
she
back
leans
to
forward in the
room
mic and says,
where our
and don't you forget it, bitch.
The billionaire
And pushes her podium over and walks away.
Lisa. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Steyer. First of all, this was the smallest debate that you've been in, that we've seen. Was that a factor? Do you feel like that helped? And how do you feel about your performance overall?
Look, to me, the question in front of everybody tonight and going forward is, how do we beat Donald Trump? And so the question is, did we talk enough about what he's definitely going to run on, which is the economy? I mean, he said last week exactly what he's going to run on, which is, I may not like you and you may not like me, but the Democrats are going to destroy the economy. And I think it's really important that we be able to take him down, go right at his strength, and expose him as a fake. And he's been terrible for Americans on the economy. So as far as I'm concerned, my 30-year history of working in the private sector and knowing how to build prosperity is the way to take him down. That's what I think was really, the point of tonight for me.
This, I believe, was the most significant debate on foreign policy that we've had yet. You were asked a question about China and Hong Kong. And I want to get a clarification of what you meant to say. What I got from your answer was that you felt that the priority with China is making sure that they take full steps to address climate change. And I didn't understand what you were saying that would mean for your policy for Hong Kong. Is that less of a priority?
What I said about Hong Kong is we need to lead a coalition of democracy and freedom-loving countries to show China that they can't do what they're doing. But what I was also responding to was Mayor Buttigieg's statement that we actually need to cut off relations with them. We can't cut off relations with China. In fact, they are frenemies of ours. We have great economic interest together. We have gigantic need to work together on climate. So we can't say, okay, we're not going to do anything. That is not an option. So we have to push back. We have to defend our rights economically. We have to stand up for democracy along with everybody else in the world. But in addition, China is the biggest producer of greenhouse gases in the world, twice as big as us. We absolutely need their cooperation, and we need to lead the coalition around the world. And to cut off relations with them would be disastrous.
I want to sneak in one more question. Andrew Yang was asked, and he pointed out himself, he was the only person of color on stage tonight. Do you feel that the Democrats have to have someone on the ticket who is a person of color?
Look, as soon as Kamala Harris withdrew, I put out a statement to the DNC publicly asking them to change the criteria to make sure we had a more diverse group of candidates on the stage. I absolutely believe in diversity. I absolutely believe we need a diverse ticket under all circumstances. There is absolutely no way that would be appropriate in any other way.
Thank you, Tom Steyer, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'll send it back to you all there in the debate.
I heard that too, that Kamala Harris withdrew, and I don't understand really why or what all happened around that.
About Laura Berlin Lopez, about that moment that was about money and politics.
In fact, I should look up everything
conversation
around what happened with that.
Well, I think it's a big conversation. That, right, Warren was effective in in circling back to corruption, which is the key pillar of her, or the key message from her campaign. But so many voters do talk about Citizens United, the Supreme Court decision, and how they are tired of the fact that that opened up the floodgates for corporations and for outside groups to just filter dark money into U.S. politics. And so that's something that's become key in this debate between Warren and Buttigieg, as well as Warren and Sanders, between them and Biden. So it was really interesting to me that finally got into this aggressive back and forth, which we were all, I think, waiting for. It had been forecasted in the days up to the debate. And one thing that, just on the added context there, was that when Buttigieg says you're worth 100 times more than I am, is that Warren and Sanders and Biden actually came from less money than Buttigieg did. And so, yes, they are now millionaires in their own right, but she didn't earn that until her 40s.
Interesting point. Dan Bush, I want to bring you into this conversation. Do you think the debate moved the needle at all tonight?
Well, it's interesting. As you said, Laura, it was an aggressive exchange. We've seen the gloves come off. We were waiting for that to happen, and it really did today for the first time, arguably, the most tense exchanges that we've seen so far in these debates. But what's striking is this was the 6th debate of the year. We've talked about now healthcare every single time. We've talked about fundraising. But yet, in many ways, the primary electorate seems to be exactly where it was at the beginning of the year. The biggest sort of unanswered
So I guess
questions
currently I'm leaning towards Warren.
Do Democrats think it's better off to nominate a moderate or a progressive, a man or a woman? And what that says to me is, after a year, after 6 debates, after countless town halls and rallies, Democratic voters are still pretty anxious about the election and about what their best options are to beat President Trump.
This is why I don't feel very
we're looking for is whether we would continue to see that sort
confident
of
about the election.
holding fire between Warren and Sanders. There are a lot of progressive voters in a state like California, and you wonder if that vote will continue to be split. If that
And
will
see,
benefit
this is
a candidate
my
like
thing.
Biden.
She withdrew
I
from
didn't
the
see a
race
lot of
because
fire
for
between
financial
them.
reasons. And this is what I was saying. I don't think that it makes any sense that the reason that people qualify or don't the race is because of money and not because of how many people are supporting them. No matter how many people are supporting you at the polls, the reason why you do or don't qualify is because of money. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Kamala Harris withdrew because of money.
She withdrew?
Yes, because of
Andrew Yang, thank you for joining us. Briefly, I want to ask you, this was the smallest. How do you feel like you were able to do more? How do you feel about your performance?
Well, I definitely feel like I got more of an opportunity to speak to the American people, so that was great. Still want more.
So that's what it comes down to. It's about how much money they can raise. And if they can't raise enough money, then they can't stay in the race. It's not about how many people support you. It's about how much money you can raise. And I'm like, what does that have to do?
An upgrade from previous debates.
Okay, thank you. I wish we had more time, but we really appreciate
This
it.
is just like the debate. No, I'm just kidding. PBS is great. Watch PBS all the time. Don't watch any other network. Just
Thank you.
PBS.
It's an open shout out for PBS. Thank you. Back to you all.
Just PBS.
Thank you, Lisa and Mr. Yang for Biden. Because Amy, he seems to have a very strong debate performance tonight, maybe the strongest yet. I think he absolutely did. Those first couple of debates over the tax. In this case, he was pushed both on healthcare and on Afghanistan.
It's the news we pay for. They also get our tax dollars. Pay for that.
All looking for Iowa.
So watch that stuff you pay for. Watch that public
next
access.
Campaign. All of them need to have either a win, which I would argue Warren and Buttigieg especially because they've been in the lead in that state.
Watch that
And for
C-SPAN.
Amy Klobuchar to have just, in the very least, to have a good showing in that state. All counting on that to, as I said, sort of like slingshot them. Back to that essential question for so many Democratic voters, which is electability and who can beat Trump. Dan, did you see anyone emerge from the debate stage that might be able to find a group of voters?
The field is still very unsettled. I agree. I thought it was a particularly good performance for Biden. As you said, he struggled early on in the first debates, unsure, interrupting himself a couple different times. Here, he was much more confident. He knew when to jump in, when to stay out. And look, at this point, he is still atop the polls in national polls. Now, if he slipped to third or fourth in Iowa and New Hampshire, that nomination, and no American voters with quieting the doubts. Some Democrats were a little anxious about his performance.
I think you mentioned African Americans, mentioned Latinos.
So terrible.
And Julian Castro that we didn't hear tonight. Well, thank you so much. Reporting from the spin room, and you can continue to follow PBS Debate Show. This is in which we heard from 7 of our West Coast program. And again, have a good night.
Okay, welcome back. I'm William Brangham here at the PBS NewsHour studios back in Washington, D.C. You've been watching our live coverage of the Democratic National...
That's enough of that. Gonna go back to the movie now.
Truth is, I expected you.
Rewind a bit. It's enough of that.
Excuse me. You know what Harrison is?
Jeannie, I found Jack.
Oh, there you are, stranger. Where you been?
Oh, I know. I put the parking lot in the center of the...
It's great round. Great round.
You and me, buddy, we know how to live, huh? Come on. Come on. Take your seat.
Lorena.
Are you okay? I mean, you take off Christmas morning and you don't tell anyone where you're going.
We get back to Nicolas Cage now.
I'm having kind of a bad day. You know, I read somewhere that suicide rate doubles their I don't think so. Well, it's not Kate. You see? Huh? That's like we're inside each other's heads. It's my life. Just keep saying it over and over again. You act like a monster. I'll keep saying it. But you know, you took the profile. There is house, kids, financial responsibilities. Start thinking, this isn't the life I dreamt about.
This isn't the life I dreamt about.
You know? Where's the joie de vivre? Suddenly every lingerie ad in the New York Star Ledger represents a life that you can't have. Come on. Right? Sometimes it feels like you gave up the whole world. I know that, but look what you got. Look at that. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a partially finished basement, and some kids. Look, you know what? Probably don't want to hear this right now. You remember last summer when I almost had that thing with Downey Jr. speech therapist? You remember what you said to me? You said, don't screw up the best thing in your life just because you're a little unsure about who you are. Okay. Go get him, Tiger.
want something?
Antonio. Antonio.
Never mind. Just did. Thank you. Do you have any idea what you're going to do tonight? You walk out here at 7:30 in the morning. You don't tell me where you're going. Where you expect you're going. And then 2 hours later, I called all of my friends. I had the state troopers looking for you. I was on the phone with the hospital, for God's sake. What kind of a man leaves his family on Christmas morning without a word about where he's going? What kind of a man does that, Jack? I don't know.
Stop, Antonio. Oh, gosh. It's like, oh God, liquor, yes. Like, ooh, an American cigar, yummy. Okay, no, thank you. Aw, she laid out his pajamas for him. Oh, God. You look just like him. Sure. Welcome to Earth. This little girl is cute. It's always the red button on a car seat. Or the gray button. Ew, winter camping is an after-school activity? That sounds horrible. Back. Okay. Wow, the door is covered with his daughter's drawings. It's like, yeah, none of that nonsense. We're married. Oh, I faked asleep. Didn't want to sleep with another man's wife. Oh, hell no. Wow. I love when he throws the whole temper tantrum in the mall. Do you have any idea what my life is like? I have to drive a minivan. I want a $2,400 suit. I have to walk the dog. Wow. Compares them to his daughters, Mary Jane's. There's a full temper tantrum. Wow. How we can't bowl. You're better than this sport. Feeling all good about getting 4 pins down. Wow. It's always the dudes with the quality wives. It's always the people with quality relationships. Willing to throw it away. Give me that cake. It's too important to me. He's a jerk. See, these movies are the type of movies that mess you up if you really think about relationships. Uh-uh. Long time. He went kinky when she wanted him to go romantic. You know why? Because he's not your man. Not a great singer. That's what we know about Nicolas Cage. Now, thanks to the Family Man. You tried, but I mean, should you have tried less? Probably. It's the suit. No. No, why didn't it admit you forgot? Just say it was a night thing. Oh my goodness. Scallops look good. Oh, this is a sweet movie. You know, Leonie doesn't really get work anymore. I wonder where she went. Or Tia Leonie. Glenn?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did Tia Leonie go?
She's in our hearts. She's in our hearts. Actually, I believe she was playing vice president in a show, wasn't she?
Was she?
Wasn't she the lead on that show?
Was that her? Or was that another lady who's blonde?
Like, no, wasn't she the Madam Secretary?
Was that her?
I think so. I'm going to say it was. I'm also going to say I need to invest in better tape.
I agree with that.
Didn't even give me a week. I'm gonna have to just triple, quadruple up on it. Wrap it all the way around.
Aww.
I'll buy actual duct tape tomorrow.
Uh-oh. Wow. Damn it. Jack just can't give it up. Helen. 10 times more pathetic than the ones you're dealing with. Oh my God, his logic is so ridiculous. This is the center of the universe. She hit him with that real logic. He said, get a goddamn slow over. Like you're being very extra about it. Oh, this is to get it done. Oh, it's actually not too late. Hmm? Message. What is happening? Oh. Take the dog with you to the mothership. I feel like that entire experience was fueled by ecstasy. Once again, with stress, you need to stop doing drugs. Can't help you with finding your unborn children here, sweetie. Sorry. Fucking shoulder pain. Nightmare. I'd be like, but I already checked my bag. You know how long it's getting hard it's going to be to get those check bags back. Such a hassle. So just be easier to go all the way there with the bags, you know. At this point. It literally be weeks of phone calls trying to get that bag back, you know. Can't deal with that. Nonsense. I know what the next movie I'm going to play is. Next setup I want to do. Because it's for a different theme. Damn it. Hopefully I don't involve in this one. I'm going to act up. I always want to act up at night. I should watch this earlier. I will play later if I have to. Let's see. Playing Four Christmases. Vince Vaughn movies be so ridiculous. Antonio, stop. The only thing I don't like about movies about people who like don't want to get married and have kids is that they always end up like deciding to get married and have kids. They're like, okay, I didn't know what I wanted after all. You really can't spell families without lies. There's some board games where I just like watch someone play them, and I'm like, I still don't get it. Now they might deserve to get caught because of this dancing packing montage. Now he definitely deserves to be caught for that. For that, he deserves to be caught. Now I don't feel bad for him at all. See, that's why your flights were canceled. God don't like ugly. Or your ugly hat. Mm-hmm. And what it is it's ugly on you. Vince Vaughn. Wow. And they're just like right on the news from multiple angles. Oh, yes. Camera came right to him. Yes. Yes, they do. I don't know what this means. No, compare your situation to my situation. I totally needed a yoga right now. I'm gonna do that. Oof. And I'll be back.